I'm back. Let's get some gaming going on. Dang it. Gotta move that bad boy down. Trying to think, guys. Well, let's just go ahead, play some Dead by Daylight. Don't worry, guys. One of these days. Oh, that is loud. One of these days, guys, I will play as the killer. One of these days. Bad boy's still a little loud. Oh, I got 50k blood points. I'll take it. Why can't we buy survivors with blood points? That's what I don't understand. Alright, first game, we gained a dub. Guess we'll see. One of these days I'm gonna get a new chair. Let's go, baby. Any of y'all see that video of those Popeye workers jumping a customer? That was insane. I wouldn't put it past Popeyes to do such a thing, though. It really didn't surprise me one bit. Alright. What if we're playing against Leatherface? This place has a basement, right? I thought it did. We got the little Christmas lights up. Someone's in the spirit. It's out here. Do you know where I am now? Why am I so slow? Oh, someone disconnected? That's unfortunate. Ooh, almost missed that bad boy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so slow. Look at what? Hey, buddy. Yo, what was Scream doing, man? He knows we gotta go back over there, so he can essentially just camp. Yeah, he can camp that generator, though. Yo, this dude's camping the gate now. Oh, okay. I'm getting out of here. Okay, I like it. Start off with the dub. Can't get that? Go ahead and ready up. Alright, we got another one, so what do we get? Yeah, we need this to get off the hooks. on, buddy. Let's get this party started. All right, let's get this party started. Oh, not the lady. Yo, so is every map just gonna be Christmas related? Ooh, she almost had me right there. Oh gosh. so creepy. Oh my gosh, how did I get away from her? I gotta play it. I'm chilling right now. She got me flustered. I gotta regroup. What's that? Do I just go? Okay. Good thing we didn't get out. No, my palms are sweating right now. Why'd you come after me? Yo, why'd you... I feel targeted. Why'd you target me? Am I gonna get some help? Bro! Gotta get some water, guys. Okay. We'll probably get back to that game. We're gonna play some Valorant. What's it installing right now? Well, while we are waiting,
Okay, people, first up, tree. No box store this year. We are chopping that BB down ourselves. Next up, cookie making.
One Piece.
Now first, I want to give... I tricked Sam Bankman-Fried into a third interview with me, and this time he may have admitted to fraud. You'll be the judge. You can click to this timestamp if you just want to listen to the interview, but I want to explain the background, the strategy that went into this call to try to learn where others had failed, including, by the way, learning from my own failures interviewing Sam. Now, first, I want to give some background. Sam at no point has wanted to talk to me. Every time I've kind of snuck on these Q&As and started peppering him with questions, he usually leaves. But I realized that since this was my third time basically doing the exact same trick, it was probably going to be one of my last, because at some point he was going to catch on. So I knew going into this, it might be my last chance to interview Sam.
Yeah,
and because of that, I had to think long.
I think Sam, he knew what was going on in his company. I
hard about what the perfect line of questioning would be to really pin Sam down, knowing that he's a master at dodging questions. He's done it with everybody so far, including me, by the way. And I mean, look, I think we've got some great stuff, but to this point, I didn't think anyone had gotten that smoking gun. He always denies everything. He always has a sort of a loophole out of it. So I'd have to try a different tactic. And here was my plan. Sam's whole excuse about not being a con man all hinges around Alameda Research. Basically, he says he knew nothing of what was going on there because he was just the CEO of FTX.
He 100% knew.
And while that's nearly impossible to believe that he's this stupid or incompetent, it's really hard to prove 100%. So I realized if we were going to do this, I'd have to remove Alameda from my case, right? I needed to show that Sam had knowingly defrauded people without invoking Alameda at any point. And here was my plan to do it. I was going to spend the entire time laser focused on the FTX terms of service. Now, some of you may know FTX lays out that they cannot use customer funds for anything. They can't trade with them. They can't loan them out. And I thought this was a really important point because obviously that money is no longer there. So clearly something must have happened. But I'm far from the first person to notice this. Many people, including myself, have already tried to ask him about this and pin him down. But for various reasons, well, it didn't work. And I needed to learn why so we could avoid it. So I want to go through a few major interviews with Sam and show why this line of questioning has always fallen apart, starting with the New York Times.
The terms of service for FTX. And I just want to read you this. It says, none of the digital assets in your account are the property of or shall or may be loaned to FTX Trading. FTX Trading does not represent or treat digital assets in users' accounts as belonging to FTX Trading. So how is it possible that Alameda had this loan of such a large size?
So there's that piece from the terms of service, but there were a number of other parts of the terms of service and a number of other parts of the platform on top of that. There is the borrow lending facility, where users were lending billions of dollars of assets to each other.
That's not what he's asking, though. He's asking about the investors who, when they came in and decided to give you their money, that it was not going to be traded at all. You weren't going to use the funds, but you found a way to commingle your funds with the investors that you had a signed document that says you won't be using their funds. That is illegal.
Collateralized
You
by
cannot do
assets
that.
on the exchange. You had obviously futures contracts where there were leveraged
Literally
positions on.
in the contract.
This loan.
There were a number of other parts.
Had this loan of such a large size. 2, FTX trading. FTX trading does not represent or treat digital assets and users' accounts as belonging to FTX trading. So how is it possible that
Literally
Alameda
says in the contract.
had this loan
But to use it
of
for
such
trading.
a large size?
So there's that piece from the terms of service, but there were a number of other parts of the terms of service and a number of other parts of the platform on top of that. There is the borrow lending facility, where users were lending billions of dollars of assets to each other, collateralized by assets on the exchange. You had obviously futures contracts where there were leveraged positions on.
Hold on, guys. Check something real quick. Okay. You can play some Valorant now. Can we just get her?
Everyone is afraid of something.
Okay. But you already know we're going to rush to Jet.
Match found.
Can we get it?
Go. Let's go.
Why do I feel like she's been here though?
Just keep your tech off my flames, yeah? Wouldn't want to fry your circuitry. Careful now.
Phoenix here.
Bro, who just got me right there?
One enemy remaining. Last player
Oh
standing.
no. Bro, what are you doing? Barbie girl fan, what are you doing? Oh, well, we just got saved right there. I just got an assist off of that?
Reloading.
Keep up. Ooh. Blocking sight.
Enemy spotted me. Spike down mid. One enemy remaining. Reloading.
Nice. That sucks.
Nice. Hey man, I can see through fog now, buddy.
Now keep them there.
I got X-ray vision.
Don't hold back.
Blocking sight.
Spotted.
Enemy spotted. See.
Flash.
Enemy spotted B. Reloading.
No charges left.
Last player standing.
What? How'd I just die right there? That was so stupid of me. I deserved that death.
My city needs me. I can't be away for long. Let's end this quickly. Reloading. Reloading. Enemy spotted.
Going up. Careful now.
Last player standing. There. Flawless.
sometimes I always question why the hell do I do the things I do.
Joke's over! You're dead!
My ult's ready. What's this?
Spike down mid. Last player standing.
My knives are worthless.
Bragging rights if you get first pick. Charlie Mike, let's move.
One down.
There. One down.
Reloading.
Oh dang, did I lose my gun? From that blast? Oh my gosh.
Target sighted A.
Spike down B.
You should run.
Last player standing.
Blocking sight.
30 seconds left.
This man's using a candy cane.
Who's next?
Be faster.
Oh no, killed me right there. So confused.
Last player standing.
Come on, blow up.
Let's get these idiots.
Guys, we need to stick together.
Clear to engage. Weapons hot.
Bunch of guys B.
You will not kill my allies!
One enemy remaining.
One more! Just one more, guys. There we go.
Attack when they're suppressed.
You almost killed that whole squad, that whole team. That would have been a first for me in this game, to eliminate the whole squad.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Our spike carrier is killed.
Spike down A.
Night night!
Watch your eyes!
Last
spike
player
carrier is
standing.
killed.
As much as this world hurt me, it's mine, and I will kill to defend it.
Yes, I gotta go to the restroom so bad. Do I just make a break for it after this game?
Let's go.
Who's next?
Going up.
Reloading. Our spike's down.
Spike down mid.
You should run.
Last player standing. Thirty seconds left. Last round in the half.
Back heavy. My ult's ready. Whatever it takes. Suppress it. No one walks away. Grenade out. Flashbang. Kill. Our spike carriers do.
Spike down A.
Blocking sight. Watch this!
30 seconds left.
Give me those back. I got the spike.
Last player standing. Spike down A. 10 seconds
Bro,
left.
what is this guy doing?
Switching sides.
Look your enemy in the eye. It helps with accuracy.
Four v 5 now. Huge disadvantage. Oh my gosh, this disadvantage. No.
Time to mix things up.
Shutting them down. Flashbang. Grenade.
Spike down mid. Last player standing.
The symphony of death. Don't worry, you get
Reloading. Last player standing.
Just let them try to catch me.
Multiple enemies. Spike planted. Here. Multiple enemies seen. Here. Last player standing.
See ya. No charges left. Blocking sight.
Come on, guys. It's not over yet.
We win. We survive.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Spike planted.
My ult's ready.
Whoa, what's going on?
One enemy remaining.
Oh, just
Clutch. Match point.
They're just baddies. And I need a return.
I just shot and prayed
Last
right
player
there.
standing.
Like, GG's, man.
Attackers win.
I mean, 20 kills, I'll take it. I'll take it. I will take it. Invite MVP. I'll take it. All right, what do we play? Well, I kind of want to get back to this.
Now, of course, all of this, it's meant to be the case that these are positions where FTX could, if it needed to, margin call those positions and close them down in time such that it would cover all of those, all those shorts, all those liabilities. Obviously, that wasn't the case here, and that's a massive failure of oversight, of risk management, and of diffusion of responsibility from myself running FTX.
But just make this very straight. Was there commingling of funds? That's what it appears like. It appears like there's been a genuine commingling of the funds that are of FTX customers that were not supposed to be commingled with your separate firm.
I didn't knowingly commingle funds.
You knowingly did.
Sorkin tried and failed here to pin him down on the terms of service. Why? Well, because Sam escapes in this talk about a different part of the terms of service, which related to margin trading, where you take out some kind of a loan. And in a way, it was a complete deflection. Like, it doesn't matter that there's a separate margin trading terms of service because the people who weren't margin trading still should have had their funds kept safe. But it sort of threw Sorkin off track. And so now we're going to move to the Stephanopoulos interview, which was a bit better because Sam's going to try the margin trading story. But watch Stephanopoulos. He does a better job at honing in on the question.
But as you know, the FTX terms of service tell the people who signed up, none of the digital assets in your account are the property of or shall be or may be loaned to FTX trading. But you're saying that happened.
My understanding is a few things happen. The first is there is a margin trading facility on FTX by which users can lend out funds, by which other users borrow funds. And so there are explicit cases where there is, margin extended, where there is borrow lending.
If Alameda is borrowing the money that belongs to FTX depositors, that's a bright red line, isn't it?
There are a lot of cases where that's actually explicitly part of the programs and that are happening.
Not here. Here it says that the digital assets may not be loaned to FTX trading. They can't be loaned out.
What was he?
Here it says that the digital assets may not be loaned to FTX trading. They can't be loaned out.
He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to say, buddy.
There existed a borrow lending facility on FTX. And I think that's probably covered, I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere else in the terms of service.
But they'd have to approve of that. They're saying they didn't approve of it here. They're saying you approved of it.
Now, this is great stuff from Stephanopoulos. He refocused the question, but Sam's about to weasel out with a new trick. Go ahead and watch.
If you rewind to, the beginning of FTX, where, some customers were, I think in line with sort of existing relationships that they've had, at least in some cases, wiring money straight to Alameda Research in order to trade on FTX.
So you do know, and you did know, that FTX deposits were being funneled to Alameda.
So I was vaguely aware that that was how some wires were being sent in the first place.
Didn't that set off alarm bells in your head?
So there are a lot of people who are involved in that process. And look, I really deeply wish that I had taken a lot more responsibility for understanding what the details were of what was going on there.
This is how he slips out again. He tried the margin trading explanation. It didn't work. So he pivots to, okay, well, there's this weird backstory where FTX used to take wires from Alameda. And maybe that's where we lost the money, right? It's another smokescreen. but unfortunately, it kind of hamstrung the conversation. And if I was going to succeed, I'd have to beat that explanation. And in the first couple interviews I did with Sam, I tried to go with like this insider angle, where insiders I had talked to had told me something very different, but it didn't work. Go ahead and watch.
There's sort of all this talk about the terms of service. Did you break terms of service? Did you not? You're basically claiming that there was this separate side of your terms of service. But I talked to somebody from Alameda and asked how big the position of or how many people had assets in the type of accounts that terms of service would apply to versus the regular terms of service, which said you couldn't use their money. And they said it was about $1 billion that was in the margin trading, or the margin side of things, where you could reuse their funds or whatever. And the rest of it was not there. So it seems like you're putting all your eggs behind this one excuse about, there was this separate side of the terms of service. How do you address everyone else?
So I don't have all the data in front of me. My memory is that it was substantially more than $1 billion. I can't verify that. On top of that, there were other effects as well. Some of those were early wire transfers sent directly to Alameda.
Yeah, I kind of got stuck where Stephanopoulos roughly got stuck. I should have known that he was just going to refuse the evidence of insiders and just say, well, I disagree, and go back to his Alameda wire explanation. And I tried following it up a bit, but it didn't really matter. I had kind of missed my shot on that particular angle. And as I reflected on this, I realized all of the talk about margin trading, future trading, wire transfers to Alameda, all of it is a smokescreen from the big problem. The big problem is that some percentage of FTX's customer base never sent a wire to Alameda. They never signed up to margin trading. They never did spot margin. All they did was put their assets on the platform, and they were told that their assets would not be borrowed, it would not be loaned out, and that money would always be there. And it wasn't there. Why wasn't it there? There's no other way to explain that. If the money's not there, then fraud. And I had to laser in on that one point, not get distracted by these shiny objects that Sam's throwing up about this or that, or what about this, what about that? No, there's only one question that matters, and it's impossible for him to answer, I thought. So that was my strategy going into it. That was the backstory and how I learned from previous interviews. So without further ado, here's my third and probably final call with Sam Bankman-Fried.
If you're trying to do things with good intentions...
I'm about to go up.
Okay, Coffee, you're up.
Hey, Sam, it's me again. I just wanted to ask real quick about the terms of service question, which Rect brought up a little bit. I want to expound on it. Can you just tell us, yes or no, were you treating client assets just on the regular digital asset side different from the margin trading side?
I do think we were treating them differently. There were a bunch of different sides. There were more than two sides there, but I do think that we were cognizant of the fact that there were differences between uses for margin versus staking versus spot versus futures collateral versus other things.
Yeah, just people. I'm just talking about people just putting Bitcoin on the exchange. Yeah. Obviously, there was really clear terms of service around that. If it's true that you didn't invest client assets, not even in treasuries, as you said via a now deleted tweet, why do those client assets no longer exist?
So I'm trying to trace through some of this. Here's my best guess, and I wish I could give you a more confident answer, but I don't have the data. But my best guess is basically it's a combination of the following. One piece is the transfer sent directly to Alameda Research from customers. One piece, and that I think is a fairly substantial piece. One piece is.
Wait, can you explain what that piece?
This man really just distracts you with all the ums and ahs. I kind of lost him right there. One thing I really heard was and ahs.
Means so people were sending money to Alameda instead of they were getting credited on FTX, and Alameda just ended up using those funds, and they were never held separately per the terms of service.
Well, there was a separate legal agreement with that. I don't know the details of it. I don't have it in front of me, but there's a separate legal agreement with respect to transfers that were sent directly to Alameda Research by users, especially before FTX had its own bank accounts. And so I do think that that is part of what happened there, likely.
Let's focus on only client assets that happened after FTX got a bank. Y'all said digital assets are treated a very specific way. Why were those digital assets not treated that way?
So of the remaining piece, and there's a few other pieces as well around features and other things. I understand that's not what you're talking about. For the ones that you are talking about, right? For the ones that were left, and I'm just taking a stab at this because I don't have the data, but my best guess is the following: is that there were a lot of those assets remaining. We processed something like $5 or $6 billion, I think, of withdrawals over the few days prior to, or I guess the few days during the crash, and there are still a few $1 billion of those remaining, I think, in the estate. And so you put those together, you have many billions of dollars of those assets. But I think, and so that's part of the answer, is that there were a large number of actual assets there. I think there's one follow-up question you probably still have there, which is, well, how about people who didn't withdraw and were also in that bucket? And part of the answer is, well, there still do exist some number of billions of dollars of assets, of hard assets in the estate.
No, is there one-to-one assets? Because that's the whole thing. We're talking about a separation of funds. So those funds should be a completely different, a different place, in a different wallet than everybody else. What you talked about, servicing billions of dollars of withdrawals, has nothing to do with those specific digital assets, because that's just first come, first serve, whoever pulled out first. We're talking about people who never agreed to have their funds loaned out, who never agreed to have their funds put on margin. They should have, according to your terms of service, one-to-one backing. It should all still be in some bucket somewhere. And are you confident today, as the CEO of FTX, this has nothing to do with Alameda, are you confident today to say that those are absolutely real and they exist and they're present, people are backed one-to-one on client digital assets?
They are.
So I think, and again, I'm just taking a stab here, but
you've been taking a lot of stabs here.
Is that if you look at especially a lot of the withdrawals that happened, those withdrawals were not necessarily only coming from people who never used margin trading or futures or staking or anything else. Those weren't just withdrawals from people who were keeping one-to-one backed, or were sort of just keeping them as pure spot balances. And it was omnibus wallets, between the various categories. And so I think that the answer to your question is that a number of those assets were withdrawn by people who had balances on the exchange, potentially in the few days prior to the collapse. And if you wanted to think about it this way, it could be that that happened, and then when the collapse sort of completed, that effectively meant that there was, if you wanted to put it this way, like fungibility created during those withdrawals between assets for people who had and had not been using.
But that means that there is no separation of funds. If there's fungibility between two different buckets of there are no buckets. It's just one bucket. Everyone's taking out of the bucket, which means substantially anyone who had your terms of service with digital assets wasn't actually subject to that terms of service. They were subject to the same terms of service of your margin trading, right? Which is your more risky product. So you subjected everyone to the higher risk product because fundamentally, when it came down to it, you're saying there's fungibility. It's $1 here, $1 there. Everyone can take out $1 as fast as they want. Don't you see that as like defrauding your customers, the people who trusted you to just say, hey, this is not going to go anywhere except for we're not investing your assets? If I can exchange one-to-one, and I'm the one who put risky stuff on with risky assets with risky terms of service, I can take the money that someone who didn't sign up to those same risky terms didn't agree to. Isn't that fraud?
It is fraud.
So
100%.
I'm specifically talking about what happened
Answer the question, SBF.
During and following the crash in that 3 or so day period, and during that period, I think we may have allowed just generalized withdrawals. I think that was if you're saying that we should have held up withdrawals for everyone who had an open futures position, for clawback potential or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that would have been the right thing to do. I hear where you're coming from on that. I felt, at the time, that we wanted to treat customers equally. It was an incredible.
But they had agreed to different things, so you can't treat them equally. I mean, it's like, this is the whole problem of the story of FTX and Alameda, is all the funds were being commingled. Isn't this just another story of commingling funds, except this is now FTX, which you can't pass the blame to Alameda anymore. This is your company, your funds, that you are treating all the clients the same when they clearly signed up to different terms of service.
So I just want to respond to that. And please, I completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, CoffeeZilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here. I just want to respond to that.
Defensive,
and please, I completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, CoffeeZilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here. I completely understand where you're coming from, but to answer your question, I didn't make a decision there. We processed withdrawals as we normally do until it became clear we couldn't anymore, at which point we shut them off. And it was the case that, at that point, there was a big liquidity hole. That's what happened. If you want to judge that process and think that, we should have been spending those days frantically trying to code up a new withdrawal process, I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, sure. I think that's fine. I mean, it's not about coding up a new withdrawal process. It's about treating your client assets the way you told them they'd be treated, right? It's a very different thing completely. But anyways, I'll stop grandstanding for Sam. Thanks, guys. Oh, my God.
You did good. You caught him. You caught him, man.
Oh my gosh. Wow. We got the call out. We got the shout out. All right. You can probably tell I was pretty excited about that because I finally got what I was looking for. A straight answer on the problem of funds, right? Sam explicitly says that FTX was not separating funds. They were allowing generalized withdrawals. The dollars were fungible from different buckets. You can't do that. We finally dodged all the BS about margin trading, about Alameda wires. We finally got to the heart of it, which is that there are no funds left over for the people who just should have had their funds separated because they never separated them from the beginning. They were always seemingly commingled.
They're all in one
and
bucket.
Although Sam wouldn't necessarily agree that they were always commingled, the proof is in the pudding. FTX owes billions of dollars that they do not have. And it's because of how they allowed withdrawals. To give you kind of a regular finance analogy about why this is so cataclysmically bad, and in my opinion, fraud. Imagine you banked at JP Morgan Chase, right? And you have your money in the savings account part. Well, then you find out that they actually had this risky hedge fund. And you know what? They actually kind of blew up. In fact, they blew up so badly that JP Morgan Chase, it's all shutting down. But when you go to the bank to withdraw your money, you find out that instead of keeping your money safely in your savings account, they had allowed the people in the hedge fund business to just withdraw it, first come, first serve, right? They treated all clients the same, according to them. Well, you say, well, no, that's fraud because you signed up to very different terms of service than the guy who knew he was going to be in this hedge fund, right? He had a different level of risk. He acknowledged that level of risk. And if you just throw all the money in one pot, the terms of service are meaningless, right? You're exposed to the same level of risk as the guy who took on huge risk. And that's fundamentally what happened at FTX. That's fraud. They told people their money was safe, and ultimately, they just subjected everyone to the same risk as the day trading degenerate gambler on 100x leverage. And I really found the last thing Sam told me so telling.
To answer your question, I didn't make a decision there. We processed withdrawals as we normally do that's what happened. If you want to judge that process and think that like we should have been spending those days frantically trying to code up a new withdrawal process, I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from.
This is so interesting because, no, of course I don't think you should be coding up a new withdrawal process while you're going bankrupt. But if throwing all your client funds in a pool and letting the first come, first serve get the money,
that's wrong.
That's the wrong process to begin with. Your process was fraudulent from the start. It should have never been your process. Your process should have been what you promised clients, which is, of course, what I told Sam. And although I think Sam's probably guilty of a lot more than we covered here, I really wanted to get to this minimum viable fraud case, and I think we did get it.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no sort of wiggling around the fact that he was the CEO of FTX, and all of this stuff that was bad that we proved happened at FTX. You don't have to invoke Alameda to get to this, so you can't say he didn't know, because he definitely did know, and he says he knew. So the last thing I'm going to close on, and I thought it was the funniest part, was his little outburst at the end about me monopolizing his time.
So I just want to respond to that. And please, I completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, CoffeeZilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here.
And I thought it was notable for two reasons. One, he hasn't lost his cool once in any interview. This is the first time I heard him like really crack. And I thought that was interesting. But I also thought it was interesting because it's just not true. It's totally wrong. I've talked to Sam for, I think, 30 minutes across 3 interviews total, like in total. And for context, he gave the New York Times an hour. He gave George Stephanopoulos 2 hours. I think out of everyone he's talked to, or at least of the major interviews, I've talked to him the least. So if anything, I'm efficient with my time. That's all I'm going to say. And speaking of being efficient with my time, this video is over. Lock this man up, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, but Buddy's toast. They have to do something about that. Oh yeah, Liver King came out as a fraud, right? I think I might have seen that or some of the video. Yep, I started but never finished it.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize. Because I fucked up. Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. Because I lied. And I misled a lot of people. I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous. And after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous. And I never expected...
What? Why'd he say... How stuck up of a response is that? Like, before social media, you know, he was rich and anonymous. And now, after social media, he's still rich, but now everybody knows him. What?
This kind of exposure in the public
eye.
Exposure in the public eye. And after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous. And I never expected this kind of exposure in the public eye. It's been tricky as fuck to navigate. Well, clearly I did it wrong. And I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids. And yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician.
So, my thing is with that, whatever, you're on steroids, do what you gotta do. No one really cares. The main thing is that people care about is you're saying you are not doing steroids and that you did this from a old school diet, right? And that's really fraud. That's really all it is. And if this dude, he has to be, if he's selling courses or if he's selling products, which he probably is, don't know yet. I watched probably up to right here, but that was it. Then this dude is a fraud because you're advertising that all this is your diet with nothing else, right? That you're not taking any type of steroids and you're promoting that, and now your viewers are thinking that it's actually possible, and so they buy into your courses, they buy into your diets, they buy into your supplements that you take, that you recommend to them, and that's just fraud. Like, you could get sued for that.
Was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves, the 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves.
What?
Our people are hurting at
How we get here?
To the public figure was an experiment. I trained hormone clinician. Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves, the 80,000 people a day that try.
Do we hear that right? Liver King all started based off people who are depressed and killing themselves. That's why you took on the persona and did this. That's a cop out right there, man. That's just
To kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life. Our young men are hurting the most, feeling lost, weak, and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living, the 9 ancestral tenets, so our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight. This is why I exist. While spreading the message, I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
clearly.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating? I convinced myself that this topic was a...
You're cheating the people who believe in you. Are you kidding me? Your fans, your followers, your subscribers, that's who you're cheating. What?
Placeholder for a far more important conversation. I convinced myself that this would overshadow the 36 years of working out, usually twice a day, without PEDs. I've convinced myself that this was the vocal minority, usually in the fitness category, driving to an unproductive conversation. And I had convinced myself that this would be the wrong message to send to the 15-year-old boys. So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole. I have only myself to blame. I did that, and it was all wrong. I will be better. I will talk about it openly, because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician. In 2021, when I was 43 years old, I didn't feel 100% physically or cognitively. So I went to get monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician to see what the fuck was going on with my life. And so yes, it's true. I have tried several peptide combinations in an effort to increase my growth hormone, and it didn't work, meaning that my levels still remained below the normal level. So yes, it's also true that I've tried pharmaceutical-grade growth hormone, and I finally found success in managing therapeutic levels in the normal range. Yes, this is true. I've continued on with 0.6 cc's of testosterone per week, roughly 120 milligrams of testosterone a week. And no, I don't take any other steroids like nandrolone or winstrol, but I have tried them in the past without success. Yes, it's also true that my blood chemistry got all fucked up while taking nandrolone and winstrol. My lipids got all deranged, my liver enzymes went sky high, which is why clinical oversight is an absolute must. Nope, the Liver King brand has had nothing, or at least very little, to do with my business success. My companies were already kicking ass, already successful before the Liver King public figure, growing at 50% year over year and still growing at the same pace after the Liver King public figure. Nope, I've never had ab implants, ab etching, or any other plastic surgery, and I sure as fuck never actually had gene editing done in Singapore. I made all of that up. It was all intended to be a joke, and that's an expression of ancestral tin and tin. Have a little goddamn fun. Ultimately, why did I, or why do I do them? When I talk about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. Still, I have to absolutely crush myself to do so, and I'm wrecked physically and cognitively, and hormone replacement has helped in a profound and significant way. And still, I believe that the path to paradise is paved in fucking hell. I previously have said in a weird way, I'm grateful for the recent events that have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic. I knew I needed to take this opportunity to openly discuss everything for me to be a better human. If there are any questions that remain unanswered, send them my way. I fully own that I fucked up. I am as sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else, the loyalty.
So I don't think anybody, like if he was open with it from the jump, people would be like, okay, whatever, right? It is what it is. You still would have had people follow you and things like that because you were still, like he was still eating like raw meat and whatnot, right? That's just something the average person just doesn't do. So if he would have just opened up and just said that from the start, people would have been like, okay, whatever, you know? Of course, you probably would have had people that would think that, you know, you're wrong and like not follow you, but then you'll still have people, like you're still going to have people following you no matter what, right? But the thing is now, you know, you damage your reputation. You're still going to have people follow you. You're still going to have your followers. But now if the supplements or whatever you're promoting, that's definitely going to go down in value because people now know that you're a fraud. That's my thoughts on it. Let's see, what else can we watch? This guy's pretty cool.
I just switched to Verizon Business Unlimited. It is just right for my little business. Unlimited premium data, unlimited hotspot data.
You know it's from the most reliable 5G network in America.
When it comes to your business, not all bars are created equal. So switch to Verizon Business Unlimited today.
The best benefit to having health insurance would be just peace of mind. Makes me feel assured. I found our health plan on healthcare.gov, and it's been wonderful for our family.
Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you.
This video is not intended to slander, defame, or vilify Travis Scott. This video is my attempt to speculate and document the insanely complex come-up story of Jock Webster in his early years before becoming the superstar that we know today. Everything in this video has been sourced from internet archives, deleted posts, Travis's old posts on various social medias, and quite frankly, rumors. What does it take to be as famous as Travis Scott? Determination, fearlessness, command, power, deception, guise, fate, or luck? 2026 Waterfall Drive, Missouri City, Texas. This is the beautiful Houston suburb where Jock Webster lives. The year is 2007. Wanda Webster comes home from her job at Apple with a brand new iMac Core 2 Duo for her 16-year-old son, which would be the catalyst for him to take his beat-making career more seriously. The story starts with an obsessed Kid Cudi and Kanye West fan. He even named himself after Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott. Travis spent all of his time in the Pit, which was his bedroom studio. His best friend Josh Dozy Canoe connected with Travis because they were both ambitious creatives who wanted to escape their small suburb. Travis would record other local rappers, produce beats, DJ, anything that involved music. He was obsessed. In his Spanish class, he met a boy by the name of Jason Eric, who would become known as OG Chess. He also met two other important people in high school, Ashton Travis and Chase B, but we'll get to them later. Travis and Jason both shared dreams of rapping, and they both had nightmares of one day suffering from hair loss. But lucky for them, Keeps has a solution. Keeps is a subscription service that helps men keep their hair, and I want making music and live in Texas at San Antonio, just a few hours west of Missouri City. The duo was more focused on partying, making music, and living a lifestyle rather than studying for exams. By the way, make sure you're hydrated while watching this video.
Got you, buddy.
Travis understood the value of social media. In 2009, he and Jason were using Twitter to spam anyone and everyone who was popping to listen to their music. Every single day, for months, it was non-stop spam. Wiz Khalifa, Big Sean, Wale. If anyone could hear their music, Travis was convinced it wouldn't be a waste of their time. Buddy Rich, the second mixtape between Travis and Jason, dropped in December 2009. Another project filled with remixes and some originals. Trav giving his best Kanye and Kid Cudi impersonations, while Chess, on the other hand, carried most of the records. He was less creatively ambitious, rapping in a very basic frat rap sort of way, but it's likely that their small fan base liked Chess more because his sound was clearer and very current. Travis was trying to do things way outside of his skill set. Another key connection would happen, which would give some promise for the classmates. Spoof Don, who attended the university with Travis, was the son of N.O. Joe, who is a Grammy-nominated multi-platinum producer who worked with Ice Cube, LL Cool J, UGK, Scarface, and basically every 90s rapper in the South. He is well-respected, connected, and had a studio located one town over from where Travis grew up, Stafford, Texas. Spoof is an interesting part of the story because he claims to be a part of the classmates and was featured in a few songs, but there are basically no pictures of them together other than a few, and he's never mentioned in any tweets. They linked up in 2016 to work on Spoof's album, which we know at the time Travis was very famous, and Trav was featured on a bunch of his songs, but those features were recorded in 2010. I couldn't help but notice that in every single photo, Travis can't even look at the camera. It's like he's being forced to be there, or that he doesn't want to be seen with Spoof. They were also hyping up a music video, which never came out, and all of the photos and really tweets that are related to this event are deleted. Spoof grew up around famous rappers his whole life, and quite frankly, his music isn't very good. He kind of gives me like daddy's money energy. Something tells me Trav wanted to get in with N.O. Joe, hoping for a quality studio and maybe some connections. Maybe he just had to deal with Spoof in the meantime. Kind of like when you hang out with the rich kid because he had the pool and the trampoline and the sick gaming room, but you didn't really like him. But then again, when Birds in the Trap hit #1, N.O. Joe claimed that Travis was from his camp in a now deleted Instagram post. Not sure how much involvement Spoof and N.O. Joe had with Travis's career, but he was around them. Something happened. Travis and Jason traveled a lot from San Antonio to Austin to Houston, just hustling the music scene to get their names out there, trying to do any shows they could get, clubs, house parties, whatever. But the internet grind was still important. Travis's friend that I mentioned before, Dozy, would email people pretending to be Travis, trying to get him recognition. One of these people was Shane Morris, who would become Travis's manager. Another one of these people was Anthony Kilhofer, who is an engineer and producer who has worked with Kanye West on every single one of his albums since The College Dropout.
You mean Kilhofer? Man, email. This idiot has his number and fucking email on the internet.
Dozy sent Travis's music to Kilhofer as much as he could, trying to get feedback and hoping to one day have a meeting. Pretty interesting that Kanye's go-to engineer was that accessible. Like, how did more people not try that? But you know Trav. Anything for Kanye. Summer of 2010, Travis is not so sure about going back to university. His mind is fixated on being a rapper, despite not really having too much traction. He linked up with an old friend, Chase B. Chase was a college radio host at Howard University in Washington, D.C. He also did house parties and clubs, so he could get Travis some...
Alright guys, I'm actually going to get off because I am starving. I probably might get on tomorrow, we'll see. But I will see you guys next time, okay?